the players.
We go to 11.
Jong-un Lee 6, the defending champion for a birdie. Won last summer at the Country Club of Charleston. Only LPGA Tour win, and rolls it right in. So Lee 6 looking for a big back nine. 4 over. You never quite know. US Women's Open, do you? Back to 10.
No, you don't. Especially on a day like today. With these conditions, Pap all bundled up with her Longhorn burnt orange ski cap.
The longest drive of the threesome, able to come in with an iron.
Oh, man. What a shot by Pap. Says, I'm not going away. There's a little history on the line for me.
Yeah.
Only one amateur has won this in the history of the championship. And to perhaps make a run at that kind of history back over at the 8th.
Hinako Shibuno, 20 consecutive holes without a birdie. Make it 21 now. Catherine Lacoste often comes to the Evian Championship. Still very much a fan of the game, as you would expect. So Shibuno will remain at 2 under. And Amy Olson will have a chance to take the outright lead.
Well, certainly it's where she would have liked to have left it underneath the hole. But I think it's a tougher read than might appear on your televisions, in that there's a lot of left to right grain. The slope is pretty level, but I think the grain could really influence this putt in terms of it breaking a little bit to the right.
Yeah, it's a good angle of what Burns was talking about. Speed on that line, so it'll be a 3, and they'll stay tied at the top. But Amy has bounced back nicely. 3 straight bogeys earlier in the day, going the wrong way, but has steadied the ship on a day that has got to be tough for her, with the loss of her father-in-law a couple of days ago, having to deal with that news, and also try and win for the first time on the tour. She's never won before, let alone a major championship. Now Moriya, a lot easier look here, Bones, but still needs some concentration.
Yes, a couple of feet, but again, she's going to have to factor in that grain. So probably just a little bit of right break here, but a heck of a shot coming off that bogey on the 7th.
Bounce back after the short miss putt on the previous green.
Over at the 10th, Jin Young Ko birdie to tie for the lead. And again, the latest example.
Dan, we know how fast that is, but players are really surprised just how speedy this putt on the 10th hole is from hole high right.
Yeah, it's a lot like the first round and early in the championship, where the players were just getting used to the speeds here. Back at 11.
This is A-Lim Kim dealing with some tree limbs herself there.
And dangerous if you get too aggressive with it. There is water looming on the left, but that a very nice leave, all things considered.
And we'll go back over to 10.
Megan King.
Oh, Megan is putting from virtually the same spot that Jin Young Ko just putted from, and she had to quickly reassess perhaps how hard she wants to hit this. She's got to play this no more like if it were a 3 or 4 footer. Yeah, just really softly hit that.
Yep, you know how he can get away. And boy, she almost drained it. So Megan remain at +1. And we'll focus in on the 22-year-old amateur Caitlin Pap, who remembers first realizing what a big deal this championship was 10 years ago, when she said she was watching Paula Creamer on TV win her US Women's Open at Oakmont. And now with a chance to break into red figures and get within 1.
was a pretty inspirational performance that Paula put on. I can understand how that would have really motivated this young woman as a young teen. This tricky putt as well doesn't have the same speed. A little right to left movement.
Almost. It was a good try. Just missed on the high side. And back over to the par 5. 9th on the tee for Moriya.
Helping win, but I'm not sure Moriya has enough pop to get there in 2. But there's not much to worry about here, so if you want to give it a rip, help yourself. Left center, good shot.
And we'll keep it right here for Amy Olson. By the way, the temperature back where Amy and her husband live in North Dakota has crept up to 3 degrees. In case you're wondering. Feels like it out here, Bones, huh?
Yeah, tell me about it. Amy now with a chance to get one up in the wind, see if she can hammer one here. Give herself a shot. This cutting up the left center. Might need a bounce if she's going to have any chance to get there in 2.
Yeah, she's fine.
Way past Moriya's ball.
Back to 10. And coming back, Jin Young Ko for par.
As fast as that birdie putt was downhill, down green, this slow into the green uphill.
And the first bogey of this round for Jin Young Ko takes a step back to even. 2 back. Shibuno with the 9th.
Good drive. As you guys mentioned, Shibuno looking to get off the schneid in terms of making some birdies.
So the American and the player from Japan walking down the rain-soaked fairway at the 9th. And we go to 11.
And this is what we knew we would see at the beginning of the week. Long putts. Lim Kim just trying to get the speed right. 5th day of competition here at Champions, so players should have a good idea of the speed, but didn't quite get it right. Lim Kim playing her first professional event in the United States, and she's 1 behind at the US Women's Open.
Along with Jutanugarn, Shibuno and Olson, the co-leaders, as it's now back at 17.
Inby Park for a birdie to get to 1 over par. Back up the hill, pretty straight. So just thinking about this, I'm just thinking if she makes a birdie at 18 and posts even, you never know. You never know. Lim Kim has left herself quite a lot of work to do here. This for par. And that, I'm not sure technically would go down as a 3-putt, because I think her ball was just off the green. It's going to feel like a 3-putt. Not getting the speed right with that first effort, and it is back-to-back bogeys, and she falls back to even, couple behind. What do you think, Paige? Even par?
It's going to make everybody think. Inby Park just has the ability to show up on Sunday of a major. It's without question. You thought she was out of it earlier in the week, and right back in the top of the leaderboard.
Tee's moved up about 50 yards today at the 11th. The fairway is very, very soft. So the USGA are making a good decision here. Not going to get much run. Narrow fairway as well, just 20 paces wide in its narrowest part. And we'll go back to 9.
And no surprise, that is the ball of Shibuno, which has some mud on it here, Bones, at the 9th.
One arm follow through. That ball seemed to jump off line and does into the left rough. That's frustrating to drive it in the fairway and have to deal with that, laying it up on a par 5.
And that's the tendency when the mud is on the right side of the ball, it would move to the left. A lot of times it's just a guessing game on how much to expect.
You might be wondering why they don't play preferred lies. The USGA does not play preferred lies. They play the ball down.
Simple as that.
Yeah, that's it. That's the reason.
End of conversation.
Thanks for that detailed description there, Tom.
Play it as it lies. Caitlin Papp on the tee. Good balanced finish, but that going into the left bunker.
Yeah, there's a couple of bunkers down the left side, the second one in play today. And we will go to 9.
And Moriya Jutanugarn
not dealing with the mud as an issue here. So coming off that birdie, advance this one up the fairway. Another one-arm follow through.
That one's headed right.
And she's going to have some tree trouble.
Well, I thought it was almost a joke when Megan Kang says, I finally got a good layup, but it's appearing to be a lot more difficult on this hole than it should be.
And you can see, you know, on the left side as Moriya was lining up that second shot, how far ahead Amy Olson's ball was up this fairway. So a big advantage for her coming in now with her second.
And with all these quadrants on these greens, we saw with Amy on the 5th hole, you got to be careful where you lay the ball up to, because it's got to be far enough back if you can't get there to whereby you can generate enough spin to keep your third shot around the flag. We thought there she got a little too close from 60 yards on 5. Let's see what she leaves herself here. And that is going to leave a tough shot. She's going to have very little green to work with, and she's not that far from the flag.
Yeah, that got over to that left side where you do not want to be. That's the angle bunge you're talking about, and it is not a good one.
And she doesn't have the luxury of knowing what we know, which is it falls off very quickly after the hole.
Back at 11.
Jin Ko on the tee. Looking at it as though it's going down the right side, and it is going to miss the fairway, and it's all going to depend on the lie. It doesn't look too bad.
All right, so Olson clinging to the top of the board with Hinako Shibuno. Of Japan, Moriya Jutanugarn, the only other player under par in the 75th edition of this U.S. Women's Open. We've got so many good stories going on up there. Jin Ko, #1 player in the world, 1 under on her round. Lim Kim had a nice run, but still, even though she's given a couple back, is still just 2 back. Speaking of fighting back on a tough golf course, Moriya Jutanugarn at the 12th. Just seen a little bit of everything from her, especially on that front 9, but that is a birdie there to +1 and 3 back.
It is tightening up, Dan.
When you think she's played herself out of it, she's still alive. Now here is Shibuno over at the 9th.
Fortunate to have a good lie, 114 yards. So I would think of the 3 golfers in this last group, she has the best chance to leave herself a short-ish birdie putt if she can just create a good strike here.
She's going to have to play it a little to the right of the hole location likely and hope for a little ground draw. She goes too aggressively at it. Again, the
Gotta go.
slopes away.
That's a big error. That's going to be very difficult to get up and down.
Okay, so here comes NB Park down the 18th, set up here with her second. This is a tough finishing hole, even though the tee has been moved up a little bit today, rightly so on this difficult day. 381, and NB Park comes up short. She was going right at it.
Yeah, but even from that front bunker, if she's got a good lie, that's not a bad or difficult bunker shot.
Again, NB Park at +1. Really kind of needed a birdie there to make it a little more interesting, but you never know. Here's Jutanugarn with another tough angle here among the group at the 9th.
89 yards, a fluffy lie. She does have an avenue to run the ball up between the front bunkers onto the screen. Have to be a heck of a shot to get something within 30 feet.
Whoa.
Well, we talked about the mental error that Shibuno made on the second hole, and that you'd have to call that the same thing there. To hit a club that could jump up that quickly and ultimately hit the tree was very surprising.
Well, it's more of Bones making sure you eliminate the biggest mistake. And the biggest mistake in this case would be hitting the tree. So taking that out of question, advancing the ball is priority one. And
it's almost as if she thought, well, you know, the mentality of, well, maybe I'll get lucky and just get it through there. It was like, just came up so high and quick. Over to 11.
Caitlin Papp on the upslope. And that's hit the lip and almost hit her. Well, that's the danger. And now she's in all sorts of trouble. Let's take a look at that. I don't think it hit her, did it? It just caught it a fraction thin, trying to be too aggressive. It wouldn't be a penalty if it had hit her anyway now under the changes to the rules of golf. And now, second time.
Well, that wasn't very good either, but at least she got it out of the bunker. She did switch to a more lofted club for that third shot.
And all going wrong there for Caitlin Papp. Back over to 9.
And it's not going very smoothly over here for Moriya Jutanugarn.
Very lucky that this ball finished in the fairway, so now she can clip this, hopefully, generate some spin. Still give yourself a chance for a putt at 5.
Long par attempt for Moriya.
What you just feel like is unforced error. A poor layup put her out of position, and then the mistake on top of that by hitting the tree, just compounding.
Yeah, how about what we've seen from the contenders in the last few minutes? And now Olson faced with this tough angle.
Yeah, and obviously it's not from the fairway, but again, leaving yourself something around 68, 70 yards like this, maybe that's her preferred yardage, but tough to get the ball stopped. She's lofted this well up into the air, but again, that ball's going to run out. You would think that if she left herself something 80, 85 yards, she could have got the ball stopped a little quicker.
And this one drifts all the way back down off the edge. Back up to 11.
Damage limitation here for Caitlin Papp.
Yeah, definitely. Now she's at a good spot, 95 yards, which she's shown over the last few days how good she is with wedges. This would be just a little gap wedge. See if she can get it in a 10-foot circle here.
Maybe just outside the 10-foot circle, but she'll have a look at saving bogey. She's a couple behind. A big mistake out of the bunker. And we will go to 9.
And Shibuno from the bunker.
Really tough here. Downhill pitch, down grain. Boy, you basically had to hit the flag to get that stopped, and she gave it a heck of a try.
She's putting on a short game clinic today, and that may be the difference in the end. Who knows? Park over at 18, trying to post a score here that would make the leaders take notice. Third shot, that deliberate backswing, and NB Park will have a chance to post +1 if she makes that par. Just earlier at the 12th, A-Lim Kim at the 170-yard par 3. Going the wrong way to start her second 9 with a couple of bogeys. But drop.
Very similar to the putt she had back on 7, uphill into the grain.
Gave it a wrap. Right idea. Not bad.
No, good pace. Good pace on that. Just a little.
Yeah, just never had a chance. It was just way left, but chance to get that 5 after that tough angle was left for her after the second. And back up at 11 we go.
Hinako looking at her birdie here, Kay.
And coming off the 3-putt bogey at the last hole, you could be just a little rattled, a little bit of your confidence on the putting green taken down a notch. And this isn't an easy putt, Tom. She's kind of riding along a little subtle ridge. It's going to move left to right and be a little quick at the end.
dying right at the end, and she'll have that to remain 2 behind. And we will go to the 9th.
And Moriya Jutanugarn, Bones, a long way away here, trying to save it.
Yeah, and she might want to be very careful with her speed here. Certainly she'd love to knock us in for 5, but this is a putt that can get away from her. It's uphill initially, and then downhill the last 15 feet or so, downwind, down drain. Really got to bear down on your speed here.
Moriya was the most consistent of the contenders with those 6 straight pars to start, but in the heat of this U.S. Women's Open, it has gone a little off the tracks here. Bogey at 7, did come back with a birdie at 8. This one traveling for par, and that will go a little distance by, as we've seen repeatedly at this 9th hole location today. So now she's got that coming back for bogey to avoid a double. And back up over to Pap at 11.
Yeah, trying to make a bogey. And it's going to be the dreaded double. Keeping those big numbers off the card has been key this week. And she is going to fall back to 2 over, so 4 off the lead. She said yesterday she wasn't feeling as much pressure as you would think. Maybe different come the final 9 in the major. Let's go to 18.
Maybe even +1 is going to look even better after what we've seen the last couple of moments. For par, no. MB post +2 with a final bogey at the last. Still comes home in 33. Sensational final round of 68 for the 2-time U.S. Women's Open champion. So that's the lead, +2. Shibuno for par over at 9. Got it.
Wow.
Wow, what a save.
Short game continues to save her.
And I think that's something to watch out for this last 9 holes. Is she's put herself out of position a couple of times, and she's been able to scramble, but how much can she rely on that?
Lam Kim for birdie at the 12th. Trying to bounce back from back-to-back bogeys. That's a little too far out. But she'll stay at even within 2. Up to the 7th, and Kang trying to stay, I should say, over at 11. Tom?
Yeah, Megan Kang for par, and that makes her fall back to 2 over. So a few deep breaths out there. And we go back over to 9.
And now you've got a big test here coming back for bogey, Bones.
Yes, she does, and certainly knows how important this is. Brought her caddy in for an extra look. And boy,
That was a big breath there, Bones.
it certainly was. You know, you drive the ball in the fairway, sloppy layup, and then just go brain cramp to a large degree on the 3rd. A 7 here would be a brutal blow in terms of her hopes.
Solid.
Makes bogey. Drops just the 1, but it is 2 bogeys in the last 3 holes to complete her 9. Could have been worse at that par 5. So Jutanugarn is still just 2 behind after a little bit of an off stretch. And we'll keep it right here for Amy Olson. After watching Shibuno save par, just a little bit left here to stay on top as the only players in the field under par at this point.
And what a great demeanor, as mentioned a couple times already today. But those 3 early bogeys in a row on this front 9 didn't seem to faze her at all. She knows she's playing well, and she is hanging tough.
And who could have known how she would perform today? Impossible to predict after what has happened in her family, the tragedy. But through the front 9, got off to a shaky start with the 3 early bogeys, and just has gotten into the groove here with those birdies at 5 and 6, and then pars down the stretch here of this opening 9. If you just joined us, lost her father-in-law Saturday night just a couple of days ago. Her husband Grant had flown out here to be with her, flew back to North Dakota to be with the family. And Amy Olson is trying to win for the first time in the biggest event that they play in, the U.S. Women's Open. Incredible story for her to unfold